Man. So R. Kelly is finding himself back in the news these days among the Diddy Trial going on, and I'll give a little Diddy Trial information a little bit later as it relates to those freak offs. But back to Mr. Kales, R. Kelly. Rushed to the hospital due to an overdose, he's saying, and he's had some blood clots. So they had to rush him to the hospital for medical attention. He's also said that the feds have put together a plot to try and unalive him in prison. And so, he's trying to use that as a way to get his sentence reduced. His release date is December 21st, 2045. I heard that from DJ Envy on the Breakfast Club. And so much is going on with the Ignition singer. His case is, come back up kind of like as I guess, a sideshow to what's going on with the Diddy trial. But all of a sudden, R. Kelly's name is back in the news, and he's being jailed in a North Carolina detention center at the moment. So I'm gonna get into a little bit more about what happened with him with the hospital and the overdose. I'm looking at USA Today; they're covering it. So the overdose actually happened last week. He overdosed on some medication that he had been given to him by the prison staff in the North Carolina jail. And so his legal team on June 17th, they filed, and USA Today was able to obtain this filing. It claims that after R. Kelly was placed in solitary confinement, prison staff provided him an overdose quantity of medication on June 12th compared to his normal anxiety and sleep medication dosages. So they gave him too much, and that's not what he was prescribed. And so this led to his being hospitalized on Friday the 13th of all dates. So last Friday. So according to the filing, R. Kelly was forcibly removed from Duke University Hospital in North Carolina, because he's in jail in North Carolina, against medical advice. So let me scroll down some more. The Bureau of Prisons declined to comment on the pending litigation, and he's serving a 30-year sentence for racketeering and sex trafficking since 2022. And he's at the Federal Correctional Institute facility in Butner, North Carolina. I always thought he was still in New York State, but since I don't know when he got transferred down there. But that's where he's at. And so his lawyers are saying, leading up to the alleged overdose, R. Kelly was placed in confinement against his will. And after that, his team filed an emergency motion to get him released from prison last week. So in that motion, they claimed 3 Bureau of Prisons officials allegedly put together a plot to have him taken out by another inmate. Now we get into this part. They said in the early morning hours of Friday the 13th, June 13th, R. Kelly woke up feeling dizzy and faint. He wasn't, didn't have everything there. And he said he started to see black spots in his vision. Then he tried to get up, but then he fell to the ground. Then he crawled to the door of the cell, and then he lost consciousness. He just blacked out. So prison medical staff wasn't able to help him, who they have on site. So they took him to Duke University Hospital through the ambulance. Then he was in the hospital for 2 days. And so his team was only able to speak to him on June 16th on Father's Day. Not Father's Day, the day after Father's Day. After a previous call was canceled without explanation. So his legal team tried to get to him, but they cut off all contact for R. Kelly for whatever reason. And they're saying he was denied medical treatment for blood clots. After he was removed from Duke University against medical advice, he was set to get surgery on an ongoing blood clot issue that he has. Those blood clots are serious. The motion stated the hospital would need to keep him for 2 weeks for the surgery. And then officers that were assigned to R. Kelly then contacted the FCI Butner officials. And within an hour, officers with guns came into the hospital room and took R. Kelly out and took him back to solitary confinement, where they saying that was against medical advice. He should have been left in the hospital. So this is what R. Kelly is complaining about now, saying someone's trying to take his life, and he's trying to get out of prison based on all of that. So, he's way back into the news again as the Diddy trial goes on. He's now shooting his angle to try and get out as well. You know, both men are, him and Diddy. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Will R. Kelly get his sentence reduced? Will they just let him out? DJ Envy doesn't think he's coming home. And do you all think he's just whining and complaining and that he just deserves to still just sit in there, even with the medical and issues and him saying it's an inside plot to take him out? But why would someone want to take R. Kelly out? Why would someone want to take his life is my next question. What has he done? What does he know that someone would try and put together a plot to take his life inside the prison? I mean, we saw the thing with Tory Lanez, so it's not far-fetched. Tory was stabbed 14 times, so, you know, we have a lot of this going on with these men who are in prison, these celebrities. And I wanted to, another note with the Diddy trial, those freak-off tapes that everyone was saying have been recorded. The jury did get a chance to check them out, but they didn't release it to the public or just everybody else in the courtroom. The jury got to, I don't know if they could actually see, but I know it was audio, and they were saying it's only 30-second clips, so everybody kind of got to hear whatever, and then that was it. But it didn't sound like anyone was being forced, though, on the tapes that they heard. It was just people doing adult things. Everything was consensual. No one, you know, you couldn't hear Puff Daddy saying do this now or else. It seemed like everybody was all in agreement. And they said one of the jurors even laughed while listening to, you know, the freak off tapes. Again, I don't know if it was actual visual. They should have visual, but I know it was definitely audio, and the jury was taken to a private room with headphones on so they can hear it. So the freak off tapes do exist, and they said they sometimes went on for days. I don't know how many of them there are and how many years they were recorded, but that's the latest in the Diddy trial, and they've let them hear those freak off tapes. Hearing the prosecution is supposed to be resting their case possibly by this Friday. That is June 20th. Yeah, Friday, June 20th. Because Thursday is the 19th, so yeah, Friday the 20th. So they would have to get the tapes out to the jury earlier this week just so they can wrap up their case. And, you know, we'll see where it goes from there. But like I said, do you all think there's enough to convict Diddy? If he's convicted, will Trump give him a pardon? R. Kelly, do you think there's a good reason for someone to try and take his life in prison? Will this help get his sentence reduced? Or would he just get let out of jail completely? I don't see him getting let out of jail completely, but could he get out sooner than 2045 with his alleged plot to say that someone's trying to take his life and he's not safe? And then also, I mean, I don't think the medical issues necessarily matter, but hey, you all let me know down in the comments. R. Kelly back in the news. Diddy freak off tapes released sort of to the jury. What do you guys think are going to happen with Diddy as we get closer to or get more into the trial? I don't know when it might end, maybe in July. R. Kelly getting himself back into the news, will that help his case and him getting out earlier? Let me know down in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel as always. Facts of Feelings, all one word, no spaces. You put that in a YouTube search, Facts of Feelings, no spaces, and my channel comes right up. And any topics you want me to discuss or any other videos you want me to review, send them to my YouTube email, which is also in the description of this video, cregier.mj@gmail.com. That's CREGIER.mj@gmail.com. All right, I'm out for now. These trials are crazy. R. Kelly back in the news. Diddy freak off tapes. What's next? Are we gonna hear something about Lil Durk? More on Tory? Stay tuned. I'm out.